Hello everyone, hello our subscribers, those returning subscribers, and all those who are here for the first time to watch our video. Thank you, and kindly subscribe on our YouTube channel at Bila Niga. Kindly subscribe as we are going to share more about poultry farming. And this channel I created is specifically to teach our young people. I'm young also. Our young people about matters poultry farming and just vlogging and teaching most of our people about the small investment that you can venture in, and when you are patient enough they'll become something big with time. So welcome to our YouTube channel at Bila Nyiga, and I'm so happy that those who are coming back today, our subscribers who keep on coming to watch our videos, thank you, and keep on watching our videos, like, subscribe, and I'll really appreciate on that. Thank you for all those who have subscribed. We are kindly at 92 subscribers in almost in less than a month, and that thing keeps me going and it motivates me to continue creating more videos like this on poultry farming. And on our today episode, I'm just going to answer some questions. I've received many questions on our Facebook page at Billy the Goat, and many people were asking more questions about how you can start poultry farming, the do and don'ts. And on our today episode, I'm going to teach you about poultry farming. So most people think that when you want to venture into poultry farming, you need a very big piece of land, or maybe you need a lot of money so that you can start poultry farming. But today I'm going to teach you how you can start poultry farming. And I normally advise people start with the as low as 5,000, 3,000. You can start poultry farming. Even with 1,000 you can start poultry farming. Poultry farming you can start with not more cash but less capital. You can start poultry farming. Make sure you just have a place or a room. You can start poultry farming. So on my side, I started poultry farming in 20 today we are in 2026. I started poultry farming in 2023, but I was not serious until I became serious and tested the money that I got from poultry farming. So I started poultry farming back in Kakamega, where I was staying in Kakamega, and it started as a joke, but now I took it seriously when I came out and found that if you take poultry farming as a business and you venture all your capital and you become serious about it, you can start. That's why I'm telling many people you can start poultry farming with 1,000 bob. When you have 1,000 bob, you can go and purchase the 1 day old chicks. They cost between 100 bob to 120 bob. So you can go and purchase the 1 day old chicks at 100 bob or 120 bob. And when you are starting with, make sure where you purchase your day old chicks, they have been vaccinated from Marex. Marex is the first vaccine that you normally vaccinate the new hatched chicks, so that you can prevent them from any deformation later. So go take 1,000 bob, go and purchase 1 day old chicks, and you'll start from there. Like if you don't have enough space, you can start raising your 1 day old chick in a box, just a carton, a normal carton. You can start your poultry farming from that carton, and with the time you get to learn more about poultry farming. So take your 1,000, go and buy at least, even you can buy five chicks at 100 bob each. That is 500 bob. Then the remaining 500 bob, you go and purchase their food. Like for the 1 day old, I normally advise people you go and purchase the crumbs, starter crumbs. You give them crumbs, and crumbs doesn't cost a lot. And the day old chicks, they don't eat a lot. Their system has not yet adapted to feeding, so they don't eat a lot of food. Take 200 bob, go purchase the starter crumbs. The remaining, so that's the goodness of having a poultry farm. you are used to the noise of your birds every now and then. So as I was saying, you go and purchase the starter crumbs, purchase some multivitamins that the chicks will be drinking. The multivitamins, you will mix them with water for their drinking. Go and buy, what other thing, I think those are enough if you want to start. I normally don't advise people that when you want to venture into, like, you want to go into poultry farming, you go and purchase 100 chicks, 200 chicks. You'll have the shock of your life if you go and try and you want to purchase a lot of chicks, a lot of birds at once, like 500 or 50 or 100, and you will never practice poultry farming. You find money, you go purchase 100 chicks, and you are a first time farmer and you don't understand more. You'll have the biggest loss in your life. When you want to start poultry farming, like, I normally advise those who want to start, don't start with 1 day old chicks. I'll advise anybody who wants to start poultry, don't start with the day old chicks. They are very stressful, and if you are not really into poultry farming, you'll find yourself making a big loss in. So I advise, when you are starting, go and buy 1 month old chicks. The 1 month old chicks, you can get them between 250 bob to 300. They range from there. Start from there, and every day in poultry farming you learn. Poultry farming is a matter of learning. Every day you get to learn. So starting a poultry farm, start with 10 or 20 birds, and with the time you get to learn. So you give yourself a target on how many birds you want to rear in your farm. So I normally advise people, when you are starting, go buy 20 birds. Like, the starting months, buy 20 birds. When another month start, you add another 10 or 20 continuously. It's a continual process than buying all your birds at once and then you come and regret later in making some losses. So I advise you, you can start poultry farming from 1,000 bob to 2,000 bob. You don't need to have a structure like mine. This structure, it took a lot of time to make this structure. It's big enough to handle somebody, but I normally advise you can start with small structures, or you can use the, let me show you the traditional structures that you can use. So this is the traditional one that, for starting farmers, they normally use, like this one. So this one, you buy it in Vihiga. There are many. We have a lot of people who normally make this. These are the local ones. So you can start from here, and in our local dialect we call it the resere. So you can start from this thing before trying to figure out how you'll build your big structure for your. So this one, I'll advise for anyone starting, like with the 20 birds or 10. You can use this as your poultry house. So that's the first thing. Another thing, when you want to venture into poultry farm, make sure you have not a big space, but your farm is a little bit spacious. Like in Vihiga, most of people in Vihiga, we don't have very big farms, so our farms are they do, it's like half an acre. So when you have such a small farm, make sure you build a structure like this one that we have here, that has different cages. When you don't have enough capital to buy the aluminium cages, you can make your own structures like this using bow and timber, so that you can make a structure like this. So make sure you have at least not a big space, a space that can handle your birds. And another thing, when you want to start poultry farm, make sure that your farm is well fenced. that one I'll keep on repeating. Make sure that your farm is well fenced. You use the chicken fence so that your birds cannot go outside your compound, or any other birds cannot access your farm. Also, the fence will make sure it keeps away those animals that normally feed on birds, so it will keep the animals away, and also it will control you from poultry theft. You know, in the villages, a chicken is very valuable, and it normally attracts many thieves. People will try and come to your farm, and their main target will be to come and steal your chicken. Make sure you have a fence, and make sure you have one entry at your farm. Also, the fence will be able to help you control the spread of diseases. When you, like in our African setup, you find your neighbors, they normally don't lock their birds, so their birds are reared on a free range, so they just roam around. And when birds roams around, you find they spread diseases from one place to another. So it will help you a lot in controlling outbreak of diseases and spread of diseases. So another thing, when you want to do poultry farming, what should you have? Make sure you have a guideline. Make sure you have like a guideline that will help you to learn on different vaccine. I have those books that I've tried to summarize on what you are supposed to do and how you are supposed to treat your birds depending on the ages that they have. From 1 month, you know, when you are a poultry farmer, you make sure you vaccinate your birds from any kind of diseases, and vaccination is normally happen like every month. If it's not a matter of vaccination, it's about feeding your birds on a balanced diet, so that in their drinking water you can mix the antibiotics and the multivitamin. They normally protect your birds and make your birds to feed well. So I'll advise, when you want to start poultry farming, make sure you have the guidelines. I have that book that I've already tried to summarize. It's not for those, most people, we don't like reading, but I have a small book I have tried to summarize on the feeding matters, feeding and vaccination of your bird. So when you have that book, you'll be able to understand between this age and this what you are supposed to do, the kind of vaccine that you are supposed to administer, and how you administer the vaccine. So when you want to venture into poultry farm, make sure you learn. You are able to know at 1 week old, what vaccine am I supposed to give to my birds. At 2 months, what vaccine am I supposed to give to my birds. And it will help you more, and it will help you to control losses, where you find you are losing a lot of birds every day, or every period you are losing birds. So the vaccination normally helps a lot on people who want to start about poultry farming. And also, I'll advise anyone who want to venture into poultry farming, make sure you start poultry farming with the local birds. And I'll repeat, make sure when you want to start poultry farming, start with the local birds. In a normal language, we call them the kienyeji. Start with the kienyeji. They are stress free. That's what I can advise you. When you want to start, don't venture into broilers first. You just find money and you say you want to do the broilers or layers or the improved kienyeji. No, start with the local birds. They will help you to understand more about poultry farming. And the kienyeji ones, the indigenous birds, are they are very resistant to diseases. When you just vaccinate like once or twice, you can be able to manage the pure kienyeji breeds. And like the improved one, it's very hectic, and it will take you some time to learn on the behavior. But the kienyeji poultry, it's easy to learn on their behavior, and it will be easy to manage them. So I'll advise anyone who wants to venture into poultry farming, make sure you start with the indigenous one, the kienyeji one, and with the time you'll be able to learn more about chicken. You know, when you the more you rear or the more you engage in poultry farming, it helps you to learn more about birds, their behaviors, different kind of behaviors, and the better. So that one I'll advise you. The next thing that I'll advise on anybody who wants to start poultry farming, make sure, like for starters, I normally advise them, make sure if you want to start, you have a very good structure, like the structure that I have here. This one, it took me some time to reach up to where it is. It can handle between 500 to 600 birds right now, but I'm trying to get some funds to extend this structure. So I'll advise you, when you want to start poultry farming, make sure you have a very good poultry house. Make sure you have a very good poultry house, because like now it's raining very heavily, and that's the reason I advise most of you, when you want to start poultry farming, like this period that we are in, it's very cold and it's raining regularly. So you find when you buy the 1 day old chicks, it will be very hectic to raise them because of the low temperatures, and it's normally a challenge when you don't have a good heating, like if you don't have the heaters, the bulbs, or the traditional jikos that we normally use to heat the poultry farm. It will be very hectic when you have the months old chicks, meaning the 1 day or the small bird. So that's when I advise you can start with the 1 month old. At least they have developed some feathers that will keep them warm, so you don't need to spend a lot on heating. So I'll advise, like this period we are in, it's very risky. If you don't have a very good structure like what we have here, it will be a problem to you. So you can start with the 1 month old, and it will be very helpful to you. And then another thing I wanted to talk about, when you want to start poultry farming, make sure you have enough food supply. enough Make sure you have enough food supply, and we have many ways that you can curb or you can minimize the cost of your feeds, and that one I'll teach you on the next episode, how you can make your own food direct from your farm. You can be able to make your own food. And what do I mean with making your own food? So on our next episode, I'll be able to talk about how you can minimize the cost of feeds in your poultry. So mostly I normally tell those people who want to start poultry farming, make sure you don't buy your feeds on retail prices. It will cost you a lot. Make sure you are able to know these suppliers, the companies. You'll be able to interact with their sales team, and you'll be able to get feeds at a very low cost, unlike when you go and buy in retail prices. In retail it will be very expensive. So make sure you have enough supply of food in your poultry house. And I normally advise most of the farmers, when you want to plan about feeds, many people normally say feeding is very expensive, and it's true. Feeding your poultry birds, it's very expensive, and that when it becomes that expensive, you must look for ways that you can try to cut on the cost of feeding. So I normally advise, like farmers, you can feed your birds twice per day. I normally advise, make sure you feed them in the morning, and you can come and check back at lunch times, or at around 2 p.m. you can come and add them another feed, and you'll be able to control on how they feed, but you give them enough food. You find most of the poultry farmers, every time you want to add food to your feeders, you want to feed them every time, and it will cost you on matters buying the feeds and affording the feeds, because when you feed them on a regular basis you use a lot of feed. So I'll advise you can feed your birds twice per day, and that's enough. They don't need to eat every minute, every second. You just feed them, and that will be enough. And so another thing that I'll advise you when you want to venture into poultry farming, like in our local villages, like for example in those people residing from Vihiga County, and I normally try to advise them, make sure when you are doing, or it's this, let me make this as a general advice. When you want to venture into poultry farming, treat poultry farming as a business, and treat it as an investment. And when you invest, the main aim of you investing is to get profits and good returns at the end of the month or at the end of the year. Make sure you have a target, and when you venture into poultry farming, treat poultry farming as a business. When you treat it as a business, you'll be able to learn and you'll be able to know a lot, and you'll take it as a serious thing. But when you want to, most of our people we normally try and just do poultry farming for the sake, but in the end, you know, the cost, you don't know your cost of production, you don't know what you are earning or what you are getting. Like in our local villages, you find somebody who wants to visit you, you go and take one hen and you award him as a gift. No, when you do that, you are bringing losses to your farm. Imagine giving somebody one, like you take like a check like this and you give to somebody for free without him or her paying. That's a loss. So I'm telling you, when you want to venture into poultry farming, treat it as a business, not as a hobby. Because when you treat it as a business, everything and every activity you do, you'll be able to write it somewhere. And at the end of the year, you check on the cost of food when you are selling, and you be able to minus the cost of food, and you be able to see the profit that you made during that period. And I advise most of the people, when you it's good to keep your records. It's good to keep your records. Make sure when you bring new birds to your farm, make sure you write them down and be able to know. Make sure you be able to know these birds, how much you spend on buying them, food, and all other things, and it will be very helpful in record keeping. And that's why I told you, treat poultry farming as a business. Another thing I wanted to answer most of my subscribers, it was matters about Bill, can I do poultry farming like I'm working? Can I do poultry farming when I have another job? The answer is yes. Simply yes. You can still go to work and you can still do poultry farming like I'm doing right now. Make sure when you are doing poultry farming, and let me add on the other thing that I said about the feeds. When you are doing poultry farming, make sure you do your budget. You do budgeting for your birds. Like don't buy feeds on a daily basis. Have a budget for your feed. Buy feeds and make sure you budget for your feeds. You don't just go and buy feeds or vaccines or what on a daily basis. No, you will not be able to keep your records well. Make sure when you are doing poultry farming, you budget for the feeds. Make sure you buy on a monthly basis, not on a daily basis. It will help you to minimize on the cost of production and all those things. So make sure when you venture into poultry farming, you budget for the feeds. Make sure you buy, like you say, this month you are going to spend this much on feeds, and you go and purchase them at once, not on a daily basis. And I'll also advise you to buy your feeds in bulk. Like in the villages here, we normally see people, they go and buy 1 kg or 5 kg. We'll be back on the next video.